Reverend Captain Isaac Bakka, former chaplain to Uganda Air Force and Armed Forces during the reign of Idi Amin. And it's during that time that we lost our Archbishop of Church of Uganda, His Grace Janani Luwum. I'm here to tell you briefly what exactly happened that led to his death at the same time. What happened was that there became a lot of rumors and suspicion. The intelligence services of the regime had told him that he was collaborating with the former Ugandan exiles who were in Tanzania. When the Archbishop, therefore, went for Lambeth Anglican Conference, which is a normally annual conference of Anglican primates in London, on his way back, he landed in Nairobi, and it is alleged that from Nairobi, he received a telephone call from the former President of Uganda, Dr. Milton Obote, who was in exile in Tanzania, that he should pay him a brief visit. He wanted to have something to do with him. Now, it is alleged that he went and that he came back. And then they suggested to him that he should allow them use a privilege which Idi Amin had said that religious leaders, when they are traveling to and fro out of Uganda, their luggages should not be searched or inspected as a sign of respect to religious leaders. Then the intelligence services alleged that Obote and the team that was fighting his regime in Tanzania seized that opportunity to convince him that they had their packages which should be under his name and marked with the cross as church property, so that they were aware that with that rule, the luggages would not be inspected. That's what they claimed. I first heard the rumors, but I dismissed it as false. By then, I was based in Gulu, in a Uganda Air Force base in Gulu. My base commander at that time, who attended a high command meeting in the State House in Entebbe, upon return to Gulu, he called me and said, "Reverend, our Archbishop has some problems. You might find something happening. Government might take some decision which are drastic, and that they had been debating whether to arrest him, whether to do what." So he told me to be ready if I hear anything. I said, to be ready on what? He said there's going to be a meeting in Kampala in which all military units will contribute 3,000 soldiers to assemble to constitute a parliament of soldiers. Then, after 3 days, he called me and said, "You are to lead the group for Kampala." He selected 3,000 soldiers. He selected 6 soldiers, because each unit must send 6 soldiers. So he made me lead the ones from Gulu. We came. When we reached conference center, we found religious leaders, bishops of all churches, not only the Church of Uganda. The Catholic Church bishops were there, Seventh-day Adventists, Orthodox Church leaders were there, and many others. Subsequently, guns were displayed on the ground, and then the function that started was by leading personalities like Brigadier Isaac Mungu then, and then General Mustafa Idris was invited to speak. There was a document, I do not know its origin. They brought a Lieutenant Ogwang, who was an intelligence officer in the Malaria Mechanized Regiment, to read. And after reading the document, then a directive was given that all clergy from various churches, including their bishops, should go upstairs in the committee room number 3. When we went there, we were locked up. When we were locked up, the Archbishop was with us. While we were in that room, the Archbishop spoke to us. He said, "Gentlemen, don't be surprised to what is going on. I know I may not be with you tonight. You must know that the church in Uganda was founded on the blood of martyrs. It is now coming to 100 years where that time we are going to celebrate our centenary of the Church of Uganda. So it has come 100 years since the Church of Christ was established in Uganda. Therefore, we must understand, if it may be him selected as a sacrificial lamb to renew the blood that was shed 100 years ago here in Uganda, we should not be surprised. He was ready. He called upon us to be faithful. He reminded us that on the day Jesus was arrested, the disciples scattered. Some of them who had assured him, like Peter, that whatever happens, he will not deny him. But he told him, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Bishop Luwum told us to remember these things, that we should be ready to find ourselves in whatever condition we are. If our brothers who sacrificed their lives as martyrs in Namugongo, who are being remembered by the entire world every June, stood their grounds, yet they were not theologically well-trained like us, it means we would do better. Jesus said, Paul said, that some of us, some people have not stood firm to defend the gospel even to the point of shedding their blood. The moment he finished saying those things, he asked Cardinal Subuga, who was the Anglican and the Catholic leader then, to lead us in a prayer. Cardinal Subuga prayed. In his prayer, he touched many areas and the situation we were in. After the prayer, we started singing our song, our chorus. We have decided to follow Jesus. We are singing, we have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. And we are clapping very strongly. Immediately, the door was knocked. It was Brigadier Mungu who comes and opens the door and says that you religious leaders, you are given 5 minutes, repeat, 5 minutes to leave this room. Anybody who is found here, who is found after 5 minutes, will do so at his own risk. Then Bishop Fesukivengere replied and said, Brigadier, if 30 soldiers were put in such a small room and told to disperse in 5 minutes, they would not do it. Then he said, okay, I amend it, I increase it to 10 minutes. But Archbishop Luwum, you are under arrest, pending investigations in your role in subversive activities. Then 5 soldiers who were with him moved forward and grabbed him. As they grabbed him, they were pulling him out. Then the dean of the province, by then, Bishop Silvana Sewani, held the Archbishop on the waist, was pulling him back and saying, you murderers, where are you taking my brother? Where are you taking my brother? And other bishops and us, we held one another in our waist. We formed a sort of tug of war, human tug of war. We are pulling him back, they are pulling him out. They are pulling him back, they are pulling him out. Finally, one soldier did put a gun in the chest of Bishop Wani and kicked him hard. That forced him, his hands had to weaken and let go. And they pulled the Archbishop out. But still, he got up and followed them up to their car. He said, where are you taking my brother? Where are you taking my brother? Until where they forced him into a Ford Capri that was red in color. And he took off at high speed. Now what transpired later, we could not tell because we got out when they have already taken out. After they have taken him, when we all got out, we found the compound, which is now Serena Hotel, was that time Nile Mansions, was now full of soldiers and so on. Subsequently, Bishop Wani said he cannot leave the grounds until he sees Idi Amin face to face. Because he was the dean, he must have something concrete to tell the church and the world. And the question he prepared to ask was whether he has banned Christianity in Uganda and was preparing to turn Uganda into an Islamic state, as he had done preparations like registering Uganda as a member of Arab League of Islamic State. Currently, to my surprise, Uganda still is a member of Islamic states. Therefore, he told me to look for Brigadier Malemungu, and he must take him to meet Amin face to face and ask him those questions. When Malemungu came, I did find him. When he came, he said, look here, Isaac, the man may not be in a position to meet you. He's angry. Why would you again want to say the bishop wants to see him? I said, no, the bishop has sent me. It's not my word. You go and tell the president. And if the president says no, then it will stop there. But don't make yourself to take such a decision, because this does not concern you. This is a very serious matter. So he went to where the presidential suite is, and there he came back. When he came back, he said, okay, he has allowed, said, you escort the bishop, go together. So I get the bishop, Bishop Wani. We entered the lift until we went to 4th floor, which was the presidential suite. When we got out of the lift, I knocked the door. When I knocked the door, he said, come in. I opened the door. I ushered in the bishop in front of me. I stood behind him. The bishop, after we entered the room, the bishop went straight to face him. He said, you murderer, you killer, have you murdered an innocent man? Do you know that is you have shed an innocent blood? You shall not sit here. We give you 2 years. If you sit here beyond 2 years, then the Jesus you were preaching did not die and rise again and went to heaven. But if he died and rose again and went to heaven, you will not be here February 17th today to February 79, you will be on the run. You will be on the run. You are cursed. You have shed an innocent blood. I remained standing, and the bishop threw himself down. Therefore, viewers, Archbishop Luwum did a lot of contributions to the development of Church of Uganda. When he was provincial assembly, I remember, when he led us, who were by then the members of Nakasero Youth Fellowship. We used to meet there every 8 p.m. every Sunday. And him and other bishops like Fesa Kivengere were instrumental. There was a movement called New Life for All when he was provincial secretary. He selected us. We went with him on a preaching mission in Nigeria. I remember when the Nigerian civil war was going on, when General Juku wanted to secede the part of Igbo land to make it independent state, and it was crushed by Nigerian federal soldiers. We were in Nigeria. The Nigerian commander that was approaching that university in which we were, at Mota University, he said, we know some Ugandans are here, some Ugandan gospel preachers are here. Assemble in one place. My soldiers will not shell towards your direction. So we who were staying in one of the halls of that university, we stayed around until they captured the area, and then after that, we came back. When we came back here, Archbishop Luwum had also been to places like Kenya and had seen a church house opposite the American Embassy in Nairobi. He had the idea, why don't the Church of Uganda have such a house in Kampala? Later, when he became Archbishop, he sold the idea. He continued to push that idea, and finally, in the meetings of House of Bishops, I'm sure the bishops saw the idea, bought the idea. I believe he worked hard towards purchasing of the land where Church House now stands on the Kampala Road. So these are a few of the other things that I can remember, that he served the church faithfully and he ran his race as he had promised, as we always swear that until we shall be Christ's faithful soldiers until our lives end. Luwum could have fled because the British had sent information to him that they were ready to send a commando unit to rescue him from the Archbishop's residence. He refused. He said if Jesus fled during that time when he knew they were going to arrest him to kill him, there would be no church today. He said, why do I run away? He said, if the martyrs in Namugongo changed their mind and pleaded with the Kabaka of Buganda for apology and say they will not mention the name Jesus again, it's another evidence there would be no church today. Then who am I? So he was such a man who led us very bravely, and as Jesus led his disciples very bravely, Luwum was also a brave leader of our church and all of us, the ordained group of clergy and bishops. Therefore, as we remember his demise, every year we meet to celebrate Luwum's Day, we must remember the message that he left for all of us, that we must be faithful, even faithful to death. He was faithful to death. There were circumstances offering of possibility of rescue operation by superpowers, UK and United States. You remember Israelis came here and took Israelis from Entebbe Airport. So such an operation would have been possible. He personally resisted it and saying, if Jesus ran away, would we have a church? If we believe we swore to serve Jesus and preach this gospel up to the end of our lives, then we must know, as Paul says, that we have not yet preached and witnessed to the extent of shedding our blood. Jesus sweat blood. We must be ready to sweat blood when the time comes. It is not a luxury, but it is taking a message that will take us to heaven. May God bless you.